They thought they were untouchable, laughing as they tied an innocent woman to a pole. But when their new boss arrived at the precinct, they realized too late they had just tortured the wrong person. There was nothing remarkable about the call, no urgency in the dispatcher's voice, no real danger reported, just another suspicious person, sighting in a quiet suburban neighborhood of Lexington, Kentucky officers. Greg Harrison and Tyler Banks were parked near a gas station. When the alert came in, they exchanged a look. This was routine, a quick drive, a couple of questions, and they'd be on their way. Bet it's nothing, Harrison muttered, throwing his half-eaten sandwich onto the dashboard. Banks grinned. Or maybe it's something fun. They rolled through the dimly lit streets, turning onto Bluegrass Lane, where a silver sedan was parked in front of a two-story brick house. Standing beside it was a woman in a navy dress and low heels, one hand holding a cell phone, the other resting on the car door. She didn't see them at first. She was focused on her phone, likely texting whoever lived inside. The officers pulled up, headlights bouncing off her car's surface. Bingo, Banks murmured. The woman looked up. Big brown eyes. Short curls maybe in her late 30s. She took a step forward, then hesitated. Harrison and Banks got out. Ma'am, Harrison called, already assuming it tone of authority. What are you doing here? She lowered her phone, glancing at the house. My car broke down. I'm waiting for a friend. Banks chuckled. UHH, and they live here. Yes, she said, nodding toward the porch. The house was dark, no sign of movement inside. Harrison tilted his head. You got ID. The woman hesitated, not because she didn't have it, but because she knew how this could go. Something in her silence set them off before she could reach for her purse. Banks was already moving to fast turnaround. He ordered ... What? Wait, I. Harrison grabbed her wrist, yanking it behind her back. You fit the description. What description? She demanded. Struggling, suspicious person. Banks answered, slapping cuffs around her wrists. And you're looking real suspicious. Her heart pounded against her ribs. This could be happening. She looked at the house, praying for the porch light to flick on for someone inside to open the door. But the neighborhood was still. Please, she tried. I didn't do anything wrong. Banks tightened his grip, steering her toward the cruiser. I bet you didn't, but they weren't taking her to the station. They were laughing. It started as a chuckle, then turned into something queer. Harrison looked around, then at a wooden utility pole a few feet away. Hey, he said, I got an idea. The next few minutes passed in a blur. The cool bite of metal against her wrists, the scrape of rope against her skin, her back against the rough wood. Her breathing quickened. This wasn't an arrest. This was a game to them. Banks stepped back, hands on his hips, grinning like a kid showing off a magic trick. But you won't look so suspicious. Now they took a photo. They laughed harder. She closed her eyes, waiting for it to end. But the night was just getting started. What they didn't know. They had just made the biggest mistake of their careers. Morning at the precinct smelled like stale coffee, and old paper phones rang. Officers shuffled in and out. Conversations buzzed through the air. Just another morning. Harrison leaned back in his chair, feet kicked up on his desk. He was in a good mood. Ramirez had texted back. Man, y'all are wild for that one. LM, he smirked. Banks walked in, tossing a paper coffee cup into the trash. You tell Ramirez. Harrison lifted his phone, sent the pic. He lost it. Banks chuckled. Told you that was funny. A few desks away. An officer raised a brow. What was funny? Harrison smirked, shaking his head. Nothing, just a little lesson in neighborhood safety. The officer didn't ask further. That was the thing about cops like Harrison and Banks. Everyone knew how they operated, but no one ever called it out. The door to the precinct swung open. The new chief had arrived. Detective Raymond Carter stepped in his presence, cutting through the noise like a blade. Tall, clean-cut suit pressed to perfection. His walk had weight to it, controlled, measured. He scanned the room, eyes settling on each officer, just long enough to make them uncomfortable. Harrison sat up a little straighter. Banks adjusted his belt. The station had been buzzing about the new boss for weeks, a big name from Cincinnati, known for cleaning up departments the hard way. But they weren't worried. Not yet. The captain walked up, shaking Carter's hand. "Glad to have you, Chief. Everyone's looking forward to working with you." Carter gave a polite nod. Likewise, his voice was deep, controlled, measured. The captain gestured toward the group. "Let me introduce you to some of the guys." Carter followed, listening, as names were rattled off. Then officers Harrison and Banks. Harrison grinned. "Welcome aboard." Chief Banks gave a slight nod. "Hope you like it here." Carter shook their hands. His grip was firm, but his expression was unreadable. For a moment, he said nothing. "Then you'd have been on patrol long." Harrison shrugged. 5 years. We know these streets like the back of our hands." Banks chuckled. "Yeah, we keep things real tight around here." Carter's lips pressed together, almost like he was suppressing a smile. "Yeah." Harrison leaned back against the desk. "Absolutely." The captain patted Carter's shoulder. "You're like, these guys, they know how to handle business." Carter let that sit. Then finally he spoke. "That's good to know." Harrison smirked. "Yeah." Carter's eyes flickered to Banks. "Because I'm about to handle mine." The grin vanished from Harrison's face. The room fell dead silent. Carter reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and with a single swipe turned the screen toward them. The photo stared back at them. Their photo. The one they took, the one they thought was just a joke. Harrison's stomach dropped. Banks' throat went dry, and then it hit them, the woman. The one they tied to the pole. She wasn't just some random woman, she was his sister. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to Unfolded Tales Explained and press the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Until next time, stay curious.